If you ask me, JRPGs are easily the best genre out there, and over the years I've been fortunate enough to play a lot of them. Some of them have been absolutely amazing and some not so much. I am a believer that no JRPG, or game for that matter, is perfect. There's always something that could be improved upon to make the experience slightly better. But this video isn't looking into all the small things. All of these games have multiple areas for improvement, but today I am focusing on the big issues. These are 10 JRPGs that have one major flaw that, if resolved, would have improved the overall experience big time. I'm also not saying that these games on the list aren't already amazing. Some of them are in my top JRPGs of all time. It's just that with one little thing fixed, they could be taken to the next level. Before we get into it, if you liked this video, it would help me out a lot to hit that like button and sub for more JRPG content coming soon. I would also love to hear what you think. What JRPGs have you played that have one major problem holding it back? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, let's get into it. The Trail series is absolutely massive, currently spanning 11 games over 4 different story arcs, and it's still going strong. Playing through the entire series is a huge time commitment, but if you ask me, it is well worth it as the ongoing story and massive cast of characters is up there with the best. But there's one thing about the Cold Steel and Daybreak games that infuriate me to no end. It's also something that could easily be rectified, yet this issue seems to be getting worse over time. I'm talking about the half-voiced scenes. There is a lot of dialogue in these games, but most of the major scenes are voiced. Partly. You will often get 1 or 2 characters in a scene that speak their dialogue with all of the other characters speaking through text boxes. This is probably the worst design choice that they could make in regards to story immersion. If they don't have the budget to voice more lines, then why can't they just reduce the half voice scenes and include more fully voiced scenes? I have no issue with reading text, but half and half? No thanks. The worst thing is that I have absolutely no confidence that this will ever be addressed in future Trails games. Next up, we have Suikoden 4, which is quite easily my least favourite entry and one of my favourite series of all time. Suikoden 4 takes place 150 years before the events of the first game and is set in the Island Nations. This massive time gap from the other games may have disappointed some, but at least we still got to learn more about the origins of Ted, plus finally having Jean in our party, which was amazing. The single big issue that Suikoden 4 suffers from is a change in its core combat system. The other games in the series allows for 6 characters in your party, which was needed due to the insane amount of possible characters that can be recruited. Fighting with the main character and 3 others with no formations just didn't feel the same. There was also less strategy required when it came to choosing characters of different ranges suited to different roles. The good news is that it was rectified in Suikoden 5, but still, the damage had been done. Suikoden 4 would have been so much better if it was loyal to what made Suikoden's combat so Suikoden. Kingdom Hearts is one of the greatest video game collaborations of all time. Mixing Final Fantasy at its peak of its popularity with Disney was something that no one ever asked for, but what all of us needed. Experiencing Sora's adventure for the first time and traveling to different Disney worlds, meeting all the characters that we grew up with on TV, and of course crossing paths with loads of our favourite Final Fantasy characters, it was a match made in heaven. Then came the spin-off, Chain of Memories, which I didn't play, and then Kingdom Hearts 2, which improved on the first in just about every way. But then something happened. Actually, a lot of things happened. A lot of spin-offs happened, turning the Kingdom Hearts story into the most convoluted mess of all time. No, I haven't played all of the spin-offs, and I'm never going to, but I did watch numerous 30+ minute series breakdown videos prior to playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Unfortunately, these videos confused me even more. Like, who is Xehanort? Is everyone Xehanort? Am I Xehanort? It's true, I didn't understand a thing, and I have no idea what is happening. Why can't I just live the simple life like in Kingdom Hearts 1 and jump into my gummy ship and go visit Tarzan one more time? Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is an absolutely amazing experience and is one of those titles that I would recommend to anyone into the genre. The characters are fantastic, the story is incredible, the soundtrack is top tier, and the class and combat system provides loads of possibilities in battle. The world is also massive, with several large areas and loads to explore. So then, what's the issue? While there may be loads to explore, there is nothing interesting to find. You could be super excited to find what you think is a secret passage. You could be following it, battling the enemies within, wondering what could be at the very end, only to find a canister providing you with ether that you didn't need. Or maybe you find another monster skirmish like the dozens of others that you've been avoiding for hours. Or maybe your 100th soldier husk lying there for you to play your flute to. It's just the same old stuff over and over again, and this is not exciting. I am hardly going to call up my friend and talk about a secret location that's super hard to access that provides a few common resources. If Xenoblade Chronicles 3 had unique discoveries that were worth looking for and talking about, then exploring its massive, beautiful world would have been so much better. Luckily, the DLC did improve on this exploration, so I'm hoping that Xenoblade Chronicles 4 will also improve in this area. Skies of Arcadia is another JRPG adored by fans. This game has a lot going for it, and it absolutely deserves a modern remake or a remaster. It tells a great story with a memorable cast of characters, has a fun battle system, and even giant airship battles. The world is really interesting too, taking place on floating continents requiring an airship for traversal. The only problem is that exploring this world is not fun, and this is all thanks to the excessive rate of random encounters. The game promotes exploration in its Sky Pirate theme, discoveries and recruitable characters, but this process is made painful due to the abnormally high encounter rate. Now, I played the Dreamcast version of the game, but apparently the GameCube port did lower the rate of encounters, so you should probably play that version if you have the chance. Or just wait for the remaster, it's bound to happen eventually, right? Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is an absolute classic and a big part of many of our childhoods. That is why fans rejoiced when the remake was released late last year. What we got was a very faithful remake that recaptures the magic of the original game. We got stunning new visuals, some very useful quality of life features, and some changes to the gameplay. And that is where the problem lies. While the new additions, such as being able to switch out party members, unleashing multi-target damage, and performing triple moves were all really good, they unfortunately made this already easy game so much easier. The Super Mario RPG remake was way too easy, especially for longtime fans who grew up playing the game. To pour salt on the wound, they even added a breezy mode to make the game even easier. If they went to the effort to do this, why not add a harder mode? I mean, come on now. Super Mario RPG Remake was a really good game, but a lot of the enjoyment was lost because I didn't have to use my brain. If I asked you what the best story ever told in a JRPG was, I'm guessing that many of you would respond with Xenogears. Xenogears is an absolute roller coaster of a ride with a large cast of deep characters and loads of twists and turns along the way. So, why is it on the list then? Well, Xenogears does have a few issues that haven't aged so well, such as the camera controls and platforming segments, but its major issue is how the story is delivered in Disc 2. This delivery mainly consisted of Faye and Ellie narrating major events while sitting on a chair. The reason for this is that director Takahashi's team was inexperienced and unable to create the entire game within the development time. Rather than cut the game short at the end of Disc 1, Takahashi decided to tell most of the story in Disc 2 with this narration style. While I still consider Xenogears to be a masterpiece, it could have been a masterer piece had the development team not had these time constraints. Next, we have Final Fantasy 16, which is a game that I loved so much but felt was held back by one glaring issue. There was zero incentive to explore. Where Xenoblade 3's amazing maps didn't have anything unique to find, at least it had plenty of generic things throughout. It was still worthwhile to explore to some extent. FF16 had zero incentive to run off the beaten track. It had the linearity of Final Fantasy 13, just with more grass to run on. Despite its large maps with loads of areas that you could run to, what's the point? There is nothing. If you do happen to come across a chest, it's only ever the same old materials or gear which are completely useless. If there's something that you could interact with like a side quest, it would be displayed on the mini-map. This means that the only time you'll be venturing off to these optional areas is when a side quest requires you to, and you'll know this thanks to the map markers. I wanted to enjoy exploring this breathtaking world so much, but it didn't take long to realize that following map markers was all that you could really do. Torn of the Golden Country is a story expansion to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Set nearly 500 years before the events of the main game, Torna explores the past of several of its main characters such as Jin and Mithra. I absolutely loved the story of Xenoblade 2, and the storytelling in its sequel was just as strong. Add this to some amazing visuals, outstanding combat and great exploration, and Torna is a must-play title if you enjoyed the main game. And this is where I address the elephant in the room, the community level mechanic. There are some sections of the game where the story will not progress until your community level is at a certain point. This means that you're forced to go out and do dozens of side quests in order to proceed with the story. If you're the kind of person who always does everything in your games as soon as you have the chance, then this probably would not impact you too much, but if you're not, then you've been warned. Forcing the gamer to drop everything and complete a load of boring side quests to progress was such a poor design choice. This community level mechanic really took the side out of side quest. Next, we have Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, it's true. The game did have quite a few issues at launch, some of which were eventually addressed in patches. But there is one thing that was not fixed, and this one thing is the combat system. To be fair, it's just one aspect of this system that I had a problem with. Some of the ideas here were actually really awesome. What I'm talking about is the ability to spam item use with no penalty at all. At any time, you can simply pause a battle by popping up a menu and take your sweet time choosing an item or items. Healing items are so easy to obtain too, and what this means is that you can freely heal your party at all times at no cost. There is never any threat to death because you can just pause the game and heal at any time. This took away any motivation that I had to actually get better at combat. And before you say just don't use items, come on now. That's like saying just play one-handed or just play blindfolded. This is the way the game is designed, and this is how 99% of us are going to play it. And it's basically the equivalent of the original FF7 having a fully heal option without needing to fill your ATB gauge. Where's the fun in that? FF15. Why couldn't you be like every single other JRPG in existence and give us some healing constraints? And there we have it. 10 JRPGs that have one major flaw holding them back. What did you think of the list? Is there a JRPG with one big issue that I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. This is Hellfire RPGs. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure you hit like and sub for more JRPG content coming soon. See you next time.